morning. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the intersection of Blackness and Neurodiversity. My name is Judy Beckford, and I am the founder and learning consultant with Beckford Consultancy. I am very excited about this topic today because I am a Black person who is very passionate about sharing experiences and teaching one another about everything that we go through. So I'm so glad that you are here today, and it's my pleasure to present to you today. So we are going to go ahead and get started. We have a lot on our agenda today. First, we will discuss Blackness. Then we'll go into neurodiversity, followed by intersectional discrimination and bias, misdiagnosis and underdiagnosis, inclusive learning environments, culturally responsive support, and then we're going to end with prioritizing voices of Black neurodivergent learners. So let's get started. Blackness. I define Blackness as the culturally and ethnic identity of people of African descent. According to the Oxford Dictionary, Blackness is defined as the fact or state of belonging to any human group having dark-colored skin. So if you identify with that, you are Black. We're going to talk about neurodiversity because now we have a better understanding of what Blackness is, and we're going to get into the bulk of our presentation today. What? So when I first heard of neurodiversity, I had no idea what it was. So I did research. I wanted to learn more so that I can be an ally. And let's take a deeper dive into what neurodiversity is. The term neurodivergent describes people whose brains, they're different of how they work. It just means that they have different strengths and challenges from people whose brains don't have those same differences. The possible difference can include medical disorders, learning disabilities, and other conditions. So that is the umbrella term for neurodiversity. Some examples are autism, ADHD, dyscalculia, dyslexia, epilepsy, developmental language disorders, fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, intellectual disability, and Tourette's and tic disorder. So if someone has one of these disorders, they are considered neurodivergent. So let's get into some terms that we should know. It will help us be more familiar with neurodiversity. It's basically a biological fact that we are diverse in our minds, just like we're diverse in our ethnicity, gender, and sexuality. We're not all the same. So when you think of neurodivergent, it can be acquired or genetic. It means the difference in the learning, processing, interpreting, and feeling. Neurotypical is the opposite of neurodivergent and considered a neutral, not negative word. So it's just a neutral word. Neurodiverse is, I guess you're describing a person or individual that can't be, it's basically, it's not an individual, it's like a person can't be neurodiverse. You're either neurotypical or neurodivergent. So that just kind of sums up the differences between those terms for you. Our next topic is intersectional discrimination and bias. So why does intersectional discrimination and bias happen? We know that it is not done, or hopefully it's not done on purpose. Sometimes things are overlooked, but we want to make sure that everyone is included, especially our Black neurodivergent individuals. The main reason why this discrimination happens to our Black individuals is because we have limited access to appropriate resources. Black neurodivergent learners may face challenges in accessing specialized resources, such as community resources, diagnostic assessments, therapy services, and educational combinations. These resources may be less available or accessible in their communities, leading to delays in identification and support. So when you have a child and you may not have access to these resources, this child does not get tested. So you don't know what's wrong, or you don't know why they may be behaving a certain way. And then this child grows up to be an adult and then realize, like, oh, okay, well, this is what I have, or this is why I've been struggling. So that early identification can definitely help to make their lives a little bit manageable as they get older. Biases and discrimination can lead to certain neurodivergent traits being overlooked or misunderstood, resulting in missed opportunities for appropriate interventions and support. This can be in the form of stereotyping. You've probably heard people say, oh, all boys act like that, at that age, or he'll grow out of it. So you're just stereotyping, saying, oh, this is a normal thing, instead of trying to get down to the root of the problem to say, okay, this may not be normal, or why is this normal for little Black boys? Maybe it's not normal. Maybe we should check it out or go to the doctor. Also, setting low expectations. She struggled with the last test, so I'm gonna give her something easier this time. And that's common. I used to be a teacher and I used to see that all the time. And when you set low expectations, people are not going to try. You want to set the bar not as high, but you want to make it attainable. So you want to give everyone the chance to be able to reach their goals and make them feel successful at the same time. So the last one for a bias and discrimination is social economical disparities. Black neurodivergent learners are more likely to experience this, which can impact their access to quality education, resources, and support systems. Financial constraints may limit their access to private evaluations, specialized therapies, and assistive technologies. If you don't have the money, you can't afford it. And that does not mean that you don't deserve it. You just can't afford it. So we want to make sure that all of these resources are accessible to everyone so that they can get the resources that they need. Because if they don't, it can contribute to a negative academic experience and outcomes for them, and that can carry on into adulthood. Now, let's get into the misdiagnosis and underdiagnosis of Black neurodivergent learners. How common is it? You actually be surprised that there are many individuals that are either misdiagnosed or underdiagnosed. The most common misdiagnosed and underdiagnosed causes are ADHD, which is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Black individuals, particularly boys, have been found to most likely be misdiagnosed with disruptive behavior disorders or labeled as troublemakers instead of receiving an accurate ADHD diagnosis. This can lead to inadequate support and interventions for their specific needs. So, like I said, I used to be a teacher and I saw it all the time where there were kids, especially little Black boys, who were just, oh, he's bad, and I used to always say, no kid is bad. Kids aren't bad. Like, let's see what's going on. Maybe it's something else. So we want to make sure that we avoid these stereotypes, and not have our start from children be misdiagnosed or underdiagnosed so that they can get the help that they need. Another common misdiagnosis and underdiagnosis is the autism spectrum disorder, ASD. Black individuals with autism are often underdiagnosed or diagnosed later in life compared to their white counterparts. Cultural differences and lack of awareness about autism in Black communities may contribute to this underdiagnosis. Symptoms may be attributed to other conditions such as intellectual disability or behavior problems. The next one we have is learning disabilities. Learning disabilities such as dyslexia, dyscalculia, or auditory processing disorder may go undiagnosed in Black individuals due to various factors. These can lead to limited access to educational resources, lack of awareness about learning disabilities, and cultural biases that may affect assessment and referral processes. Next, we have bipolar disorder. Black individuals may be misdiagnosed with other conditions such as schizophrenia instead of bipolar disorder. Cultural factors, we have stigmas, and healthcare disparities can contribute to misdiagnosis or underdiagnosis of bipolar disorder in our population. And lastly, we have intellectual disability. Black individuals may face challenges in accessing appropriate assessment and support for intellectual disabilities. Social economical factors, cultural biases, and limited availability of diagnostic services can contribute to underdiagnosis or misdiagnosis of intellectual disability. So we want to take all of these into consideration when it has to start when they are a child, okay? If you can get early intervention, then it will definitely help you when you become an adult and enter into the workforce. So we have a lot of stigmas and cultural factors working against us. So like stigmas surrounding neurodivergent factors can be particularly pronounced in certain cultural communities. Black neurodivergent learners may face challenges due to cultural beliefs, misconceptions, or taboos surrounding mental health and neurodivergent. And I've seen this plenty of times. I may come across individuals who may be struggling with something, and I can bring up, okay, well, maybe, let's try counseling. And I would get a response, oh, counseling, that doesn't work. That's not for our people, or that's not, and it's just these stigmas that we have. And we want to make sure that we understand, like, it's okay to seek help. If you feel that there is something going on with you, it's okay to ask for help. It's nothing wrong with it. So we have to cut these stigmas out. We have some of the most common factors are ethnicity, race, social, economic, gender, exceptionalities, language, religion, sexual orientation, geographical area, mental health, neurodivergence. So it's a long list. It's a long list. But we want to make sure that we are focusing on what we need to do for ourselves and not worrying about what others may say if you are seeking this help. Other factors are, Black neurodivergent learners may struggle to find relatable role models or mentors who share their racial and neurodivergent identities. So if you think about, like, when we were little, like Boys and Girls Club, imagine going to these clubs or going to the YMCA or having coaches and none of them looked like you, or none of them shared, if you have ADHD, you have never seen an adult who has ADHD. So they don't understand what you're going through. So that can lead to feelings of isolation, low self-esteem, and limited access to supportive networks. So we want to make sure that we have these resources available so that our neurodivergent learners can feel like they have someone who understands exactly what they're going through. Our next topic is creating inclusive learning environments for Black neurodivergent individuals. So, what is an inclusive learning environment? It's defined as a learning environment that prioritizes the well-being, engagement, and success of all learners by embracing diversity, promoting equity, and creating a supportive and empowering atmosphere. So, what does that look like? These learning environments can include universal design for learning. UDL provides a framework for creating flexible learning environments that can be accessed and engaged with by a wide range of learners. It emphasizes multiple means of representation, expression, and engagement. Neurodivergent learners can benefit from varied instructional materials, alternative modes of assessment, and different ways to demonstrate their understanding. So, for example, they may be in a meeting at work. Say it's a virtual meeting. So you're on Zoom and you have a meeting at work, and your manager asks a question. For a neurodivergent learner, they may not want to share out. So an accommodation for them could be, okay, you can write your answer in the chat. So they're still participating, but they just have this accommodation that helps them to be more successful. They may not be able to express themselves verbally, but they can do it writing it down. So we want to make sure that you have these accommodations readily available. Another one is multisensory approaches. Incorporating multisensory strategies can enhance the learning experience for Black neurodivergent learners. For example, you can use visual aids, hands-on activities, and interactive technologies to help individuals with conditions like dyslexia, ADHD, or autism better understand and retain the information. Sometimes, the talking or the lectures, it doesn't work for everyone, So you want to make sure, okay, if you throw on a hands-on activity and they're actually engaged into it, it will help them retain the information better. Next, we have structured and predictable environments. Many Black neurodivergent learners thrive in structured environments that provide clear expectations and routines. Creating consistent schedules, using visual schedules or cues, and providing advance notice of changes can help reduce anxiety and support their learning process. So if you know every week you're going to have a meeting at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday, neurodivergent learners, they will be able to write that on their calendar. They may not be able to understand or not understand. They may not feel comfortable if you just call them 5 minutes before and say, hey, can you meet? And we want to also be respectful of people's time as well. It throws you off your day, like if something goes out of place. So if it's something that can be more structured, that would definitely be beneficial for our neurodivergent learners. And lastly, we have individualized accommodations. So offering individual accommodations based on specific needs of neurodivergent learners can greatly enhance their learning experience. You don't have to, everything is not cookie cutter for everyone. And this is why we are struggling with this, I believe, because everyone learns differently. Everyone thinks differently. And if you just say, this is how it's going to be, it's not going to work for everyone, and it's not fair, right? So we want to make sure that if you have someone on your team that may be neurodivergent, that you are accommodating to them. This can be including preferential seating, additional time to complete work or modified assignments, or using assistive technology. So you want to make sure that you have all of these accommodations available, just so that we can make sure that we are creating an environment for everyone. Other learning, inclusive learning environments include collaborative and peer learning. So you can do group projects or peer tutoring. And this can definitely be beneficial for Black neurodivergent learners because it's promoting social interaction, fostering communication skills, and creating a supportive learning environment. And it can also provide opportunities for neurotypical learners to develop empathy and understanding. So I years ago when I was in school, I remember the teachers, they would pair you up with, okay, well, these kids struggle, so let's put them together. And these kids are excelling, so let's make them work together. But that's not, it's not beneficial to any group. You need to mix it up a little bit so that they can help and learn from each other. So want to make sure that the collaborative learning is definitely beneficial to both parties. Sensory friendly environments are great as well. And it's definitely common among neurodivergent learners. So creating these spaces, it can be having an area that's reduced in excessive noise or using appropriate lighting. If someone struggles with maybe seizures or something like that, we want to make sure we're not flashing lights up and down, so we definitely want to make sure that we are accommodating everyone and minimizing distractions so that we can promote focus. Personalized instruction and support. By providing this, it can be definitely beneficial for completing tasks, offering additional guidance and repetition. You may have to repeat yourself. You may have to write down the instructions instead of saying them verbally. And make sure that you are providing regular feedback and encouragement. And this is specifically for managers and supervisors. Sometimes you get caught up in, okay, I told you what to do, go ahead and do it. And then you never check in. And then when you don't get a product, you're like, hey, what happened? So it's great that you can trust your employees, but you also want to make sure you do check-ins and provide feedback as well. So they can know, okay, I'm not on the right track. Let me adjust this. Okay, I am on the right track. Let me keep doing this. So providing that feedback and encouragement will definitely help Black neurodivergent learners. Emotional support and mental health resources. So recognizing and addressing the emotional and mental health needs of Black neurodivergent learners is crucial. I cannot stress that enough. We need to create a supportive and inclusive classroom environment. So when you say classroom environment, it could be a workplace or in school, college, anything, promoting self-regulation strategies and providing access to counseling services or mental health resources can definitely contribute to the overall well-being and learning success. So we need to make sure that every Black neurodivergent learner has access to these resources, because you may not know, if I'm just starting into the workforce, I don't know what's available to me. So it's important to make sure, hey, if you need this help or if you need this service, it's available to you. So remember, neurodivergent learners, they have diverse needs, okay? So we need to make sure that we're flexible, the communication is open, and there are support networks that are available to make sure that we are creating a truly inclusive learning experience. Our next topic is culturally responsive support. Let's support each other. Like, I don't even need to put anything else on this slide. Let's support each other. We want to be an ally. Culturally responsive support looks like embracing diversity. So let's acknowledge that individuals have diverse ways of thinking, learning, and processing information. By creating inclusive learning environments, we acknowledge and embrace this diversity, ensuring that all individuals, regardless of their neurological differences, are valued and respected. Embrace it. If you don't understand it, ask questions. Try to learn. Okay. We want to make sure that we are forever learning about each other and embracing diversity. We also want to create equal opportunities. When diverse learning styles and needs are recognized and accommodated, it allows individuals with neurodivergent traits such as autism, ADHD, dyslexia, or any other conditions to access education on an equal footing. So you are letting everyone start on the same page, okay? We don't want people to start here and then some start here. We have to make sure that we're balancing out. So it enables them to engage in the learning process effectively and reach their full potential. Fostering strengths. So Black neurodivergent individuals usually possess unique skills and talents such as heightened pattern recognition, attention to detail, creativity, and divergent thinking. By creating inclusive learning environments, these strengths can be recognized, nurtured, and harnessed, benefiting both the individual and the broader learning community. So we want to make sure that if we find something or a strength that they have, let's go ahead and foster it, okay? Let them shine in it. Like, that's what we want to do. This is creating cultural responsive support. We can also create this by enhancing collaboration. Let's learn from one another, okay? Develop empathy and enhance their problem-solving skills. Don't just do everything for them. Like, oh, they can't do this, I'm just going to do it for them. How would they learn? Okay, we don't learn that way. You can't just do something for someone every time a task gets hard, you just do it for them. Teach them how to do it. When you create this type of environment, it fosters a sense of belonging. Like, oh, okay, this person cares about me. They want me to succeed, and it makes Black neurodivergent individuals feel valued for their contributions, and that can lead to a more innovative and inclusive outcome. Next, we have reducing stigmas, okay? This will promote a culture of empathy, respect, and inclusion. It will definitely benefit the entire learning community by fostering a positive and supporting environment where all individuals feel safe to express themselves and learn without fear, judgment, or discrimination. And this is very important. I do believe that this starts early in childhood. I'm sure you can all think of a time where you were in a classroom and a kid asked a question and other kids were probably like laughing at them, like, oh, that's a dumb question or something like that. When that happens, that will make that child say, oh, I'm never going to ask a question again, because that was the response that they got. That carries on into adulthood. They may be sitting in a meeting and they may have a wonderful idea, but they are afraid to share it because of the response that they believe that they will get from it. So we definitely want to make sure that we are providing a safe place and not judging anyone, asking questions if you want to learn, but never judging. And lastly, prepare for a diverse society. Black neurodivergent individuals are an integral part of our community and workplace. By providing inclusive education, we equipped all learners, neurodivergent and neurotypical, with the skills and attitudes necessary to navigate and contribute to a diverse world. This promotes acceptance, understanding, and cooperation, creating a more inclusive society overall. So we want to make sure that we are preparing our Black neurodivergent individuals for a diverse society. Everyone will not be the same. Everyone will not act like you. Everyone will not think like you. But it's okay because we're not supposed to. No two people are the same. And we want to embrace our differences and learn from each other. And our last topic is prioritizing Black voices of neurodivergent learners. Be an advocate. Be an advocate. That is very important. I really can't stress that enough. Sometimes you may have individuals who don't have a voice for themselves, or they don't know how to speak up for themselves. But if you can, you should. Prioritizing the voices of Black neurodivergent learners in the conversation around neurodiversity and learning is critical for several reasons. The first reason is addressing disparities. Prioritizing the voices of Black neurodivergent learners helps to shed light on unique challenges and disparities they may face within the educational system. It brings attention to the intersectional experience of being both neurodivergent and Black, such as navigating systematic racism, cultural biases, and discrimination. By amplifying their voices, we can work towards addressing these disparities and promoting equity in educational opportunities. So it's already a struggle being Black. You know, and we understand that. But if you're also considered neurodivergent, it's harder for your voice to be heard. So we want to make sure that we are addressing it, we're speaking up about it, and we're doing something about it. Cultural relevance is another one. Black neurodivergent learners have diverse cultural backgrounds, experiences, and perspectives that should be acknowledged and incorporated into practices. Prioritizing their voices ensures that their cultural needs, strengths, and values are taken into account when designing educational strategies. Okay, we want to make sure that it is taken into an account. If you are a manager, a supervisor, and you are coming up with a new policy, let's make sure our policy doesn't say something like, okay, well, work attire, or appearance, your hair must be straight or something. My hair doesn't grow straight out of my head. So that's already, like, okay, so now to come to work, I have to straighten my hair every day or something like that. So we want to make sure that we are prioritizing the voices of our Black neurodivergent, because they may not be able to tell you that, but you should be able to look to see, okay, let me make sure I'm being inclusive. Okay, you want to make sure that you're being inclusive and you're including everyone, especially our Black neurodivergent individuals. Empowerment of and self-advocacy, prioritizing the voices of Black neurodivergent learners empowers them to become self-advocates and active participants in their educational journey. It encourages them to speak up about their unique experiences, challenges, and strengths, allowing them to shape the conversation and advocate for the supports and accommodations they need. If you don't know what you need, you can't ask for it, okay? And then if they do speak up for themselves, we don't want to shut anyone out, because then they'll never speak up for themselves again. So we want to make sure we have this, we're letting our everyone promote self-confidence, resilience, and make sure that they always feel that their voice is being heard. And breaking stereotypes and stigmas, that's a big one, by highlighting the experiences and perspectives of Black neurodivergent learners. We challenge stereotypes and break down the stigma surrounding neurodiversity within Black communities. We want to make sure we start in our own communities, okay? There's a lot of stigmas, stereotypes that been around before us, before our parents, but that doesn't mean it has to continue. This helps counter the misconceptions and promotes a more accurate understanding of neurodivergent learners. So it can also contribute to increased acceptance, support, and opportunities for Black neurodivergent learners. So once they understand, like, oh, it's okay to be different, then if I think this way, it's okay. Like you want to make sure it's accepting. Like, yes, it is okay because we're not all supposed to be the same. Everyone brings their own unique perspective to things. So we want to shut down these stigmas, these stereotypes, and just let people be who they are and accept them or accept everyone. Intersectionality and social justice. So recognizing and prioritizing the voices of Black neurodivergent learners aligns with a commitment to intersectionality and social injustice. It acknowledges the interconnected nature of identities and experiences and the need to address multiple forms of oppression. By centering their voices, we work towards dismantling systematic barriers, promoting inclusivity, and creating a more equitable system for all. So we want to make sure that all of these examples, it helps us prioritize Black neurodivergent voices. So everyone can do their part. Even if you had no idea what neurodivergency is, be an ally, okay? Learn more about it. We want to make sure that we are not just saying, oh, I don't know what that is, never heard about it, or it doesn't affect me. I don't know anyone who considers themselves neurodivergent, but let's still learn about it because we have to make sure that everyone's voices are being amplified. Centering neurodivergent experiences, perspectives, and needs in policy and practice development involves actively incorporating their input in and involving them in decision-making processes. So here are some examples of how that can be done. Representation and inclusion, okay? Ensure that Black neurodivergent individuals are represented and included in committees, panels, and task force related to policy and practice development. You want to make sure that your voice is being heard. So if there are going to be any policy changes or things like that, on this committee, it should be someone to represent Black neurodivergent individuals. This will definitely ensure that their voices are being heard and that their perspectives are taken into account when shaping these new policies or practices. You can have advisory boards and consultations. Establish advisory boards or consulting groups consisting, of course that would happen, groups consisting of neurodivergent individuals. You can have their families on the board or neurodivergent advocates. These boards can provide valuable insights and recommendations regarding policy and practice development, ensuring that all the needs and experiences of neurodivergent individuals are at the forefront. So representation matters, okay? Co-design and co-creation, that's another one. Involve Black neurodivergent individuals in the co-design and co-creation of policies and practices. So that goes back to when you have the representation and including them. So this allows them to contribute to the development of solutions that directly relate to their experience and needs. So if it's going to directly affect them, let's include them. You should not just be making decisions for any individual without getting feedback or hearing their perspective on it, especially if it is going to affect them. Accessibility and accommodations. We want to make sure that we ensure policies and practices that prioritize accessibility for our Black neurodivergent individuals. This can include including sensory sensitivities, communication preferences, and providing necessary support to enable their meaningful participation in employment or community settings. So, for example, providing alternate formats for information. If you are going to have a flyer, okay, you can have the words on it. Let's add some pictures. If you're going to send out an email, maybe attach a video. So we want to make sure that we are reaching all of our learners and make this information accessible for all. We have training and professional development. Let's incorporate neurodiversity awareness, okay? Let's have trainings about it. Let's talk about it. Let's by increasing knowledge and the understanding of Black neurodivergent experiences, professionals can make informed decisions and develop policies and practices that better meet the needs of Black neurodivergent individuals. So you don't just wake up and say, I know everything about neurodiversity. You have to learn it, okay? And if you are in a workplace where especially if you have Black neurodivergent learners, please make sure that you try your best to understand where they're coming from, okay? Because you want to make sure that you are creating a safe space. And the only way you can do that is if you understand. And the only way you can understand is if you want to learn yourself. You can't be closed off to say, I don't know what that is. It doesn't affect me. It does. It affects everyone. We want to make sure that everyone feels included. Continuous feedback and evaluation is another one. Make sure that you are providing continuous, frequent feedback. Regularly seeking input and monitoring the impact of policies and practices allows for ongoing improvement and adaptation to meet the changing needs and priorities. Okay, so by actively centering neurodivergent experiences, perspectives, and needs in the policies and practice development, we can foster a more inclusive, supportive, and effective system that promotes the well-being and success of Black neurodivergent individuals. And my closing message to you all, prioritizing the voices of Black neurodivergent learners in discussions around neurodiversity and learning is crucial for promoting equity, cultural relevance, empowerment, and social justice. It allows for a more comprehensive understanding of the challenges and strengths within this specific community, leading to a more effective support and advocacy efforts. So thank you all so much for joining today. If you have any questions or you want to connect, you can reach out to me on my website, beckfordconsultancy.com, or on Facebook or LinkedIn, both at Beckford Consultancy. And I'm so glad that I was able to talk to you today. I'm going to look at the chat because we have about a minute or so. I'm not sure if there are any questions. Okay, so what I will do, because I want to be respectful of time, I will answer all the questions and then I will email them out, or I'll create something just to make sure that everyone has their questions answered. So I really do appreciate, okay, I answered your question. Okay, thank you. I really do appreciate you taking time out. And I hope you're able to go ahead and check out other sessions. I'll go ahead and stop sharing. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful day.